Have you ever walked away from a family gathering or a phone call with a loved one, feeling utterly drained, as if all your energy had been siphoned away? Perhaps you felt a knot in your stomach, a lingering sense of unease, or even a deep sadness that just wouldn't lift. We're often told that family is forever, that blood is thicker than water, and that we must always endure, always forgive, always be there, no matter what. But what if some of these deeply ingrained beliefs, while well-intentioned, are actually quietly chipping away at your peace, your joy, and your well-being? What if some connections, even with those we've known our entire lives, are actually dimming your light instead of helping it shine brighter? It's a painful reality to face, isn't it, to admit that the very people we're supposed to cherish and lean on might be the source of our emotional exhaustion or stress? As we step into this beautiful, precious stage of life, after 60, our time becomes more valuable than ever. Our peace of mind, our happiness, and our health should be our top priorities. Yet, so many of us continue to carry burdens, to tolerate behaviors, and to engage in dynamics that truly don't serve us, simply out of a sense of obligation or a fear of upsetting the apple cart. But ignoring these uncomfortable truths only leads to resentment, bitterness, and a life lived far below its potential. The secret to a truly vibrant and fulfilling life in your golden years isn't just about what you do for yourself, but about who you allow into your inner circle. In this video, we're going to bravely look at 5 specific types of people, who might even be family, that you absolutely need to consider creating distance from if you want to protect your peace, boost your energy, and truly flourish. It's about setting boundaries not out of malice, but out of profound self-love. Watch to the end for something that will surprise you about true peace and the profound freedom it brings. Let's dive right into the first kind of person you might need to reconsider having so close in your life, especially now that you're living life on your own terms. This first type is what I call the constant critic, or the energy vampire. You know these folks, don't you? They're the ones who, no matter what you achieve, what joy you find, or what new adventure you embark on, always manage to find a flaw, offer an unsolicited piece of negative advice, or just subtly undermine your happiness. Maybe you just bought a lovely new plant for your home, and they comment on how it's sure to die because you've never been good with plants. Or you share exciting news about a trip you're planning, and they immediately launch into a story about everything that could go wrong, or how it's too expensive, or that you're too old for such an adventure. They never truly celebrate your successes without a but, or a what if. They make you feel small, inadequate, or even foolish for daring to dream or be happy. They drain your energy with their negativity, their complaints, and their endless stream of pessimistic outlooks. Think about that family member who, at every holiday dinner, somehow manages to bring up past mistakes, old grievances, or even your youthful indiscretions, even when everyone else is trying to enjoy a pleasant meal. Their presence alone can cast a shadow, making you dread gatherings or phone calls. The tricky part with a constant critic, especially if they're family, is that their behavior often stems from their own insecurities or unresolved issues. They might not even be aware of the emotional toll they take on you. But understanding their motivation doesn't mean you have to tolerate the impact. So, what can you do firstly? Recognizing their pattern is key. Once you spot it, you can prepare yourself emotionally. When they start to criticize, instead of engaging, you can gently pivot the conversation. A simple, "I appreciate your concern, but I'm quite happy with my decision." Or, "That's an interesting perspective, but I'm going to focus on the positive aspects," can work wonders. Another powerful tool is setting clear boundaries. This might mean limiting the frequency of your interactions. Perhaps instead of daily phone calls, you switch to weekly. Or instead of lengthy one-on-one visits, you meet in group settings where their critical comments are less focused on you. For instance, If you have a family member who always comments on your appearance, you could say, "I'm not comfortable discussing my looks. Let's talk about something else." If they persist, you can end the conversation or walk away. It's about protecting your emotional space. Remember, you're not responsible for their happiness or their negativity. Your primary responsibility is to yourself and your own peace. Now, let's turn our attention to the second type of toxic person, the victim, or the drama generator. These individuals seem to attract misfortune like magnets, and everything is always happening to them. They constantly find themselves in a crisis, or lamenting their terrible luck, or detailing endless lists of ailments and injustices. The world is against them, and they are perpetually suffering. They thrive on drama and expect others to constantly rescue them, sympathize with them, or pour endless energy into their problems, never truly taking responsibility for their own choices or circumstances. You'll often find them weaving elaborate tales of woe, leaving you feeling emotionally exhausted and burdened by their never-ending struggles. Think of a cousin who always seems to have a new, urgent crisis right before you're about to do something fun, demanding your immediate attention and sympathy. Or a sibling who complains endlessly about their misfortunes, their financial woes, or their health issues. But when you offer practical solutions or suggest they take action, they immediately find a reason why it won't work, or why they can't. They don't want solutions. They want an audience for their suffering. Their narratives are often designed to evoke pity and draw you into their emotional vortex, draining your resources without any real reciprocation or resolution. Dealing with the victim requires a different kind of boundary. While compassion is a wonderful quality, enabling constant victimhood is not healthy for either party. Your actionable steps here involve offering practical advice where appropriate, but refusing to get pulled into the emotional drama. When they start a new tale of woe, you can listen for a short period, express your sympathy, but then gently pivot. Instead of offering solutions they'll reject, you might say, "I'm sorry you're going through that. What steps are you planning to take to address it?" This subtly shifts the responsibility back to them. If they try to pull you into their crisis, you can state your limits clearly. "I wish I could help more, but I'm not able to solve this for you." Or, "My schedule is quite full this week, but I hope you find a resolution." For family members, it can be particularly hard because you care, but caring doesn't mean you have to sacrifice your own peace. You can offer emotional support within limits, but refuse to be their constant fixer or their sole source of validation. Learning to say, "I'm sorry, I can't," or "That sounds really tough," without then offering to take on their burden, is a powerful act of self-preservation. It might feel uncomfortable at first, but remember, you are teaching them, and yourself, that your energy and time are valuable. It allows you to protect your well-being so you have the energy for the joys of your own life, rather than constantly being consumed by someone else's manufactured crises. Now that we've talked about the constant critics who chip away at your confidence and the drama magnets who drain your emotional reserves, let's turn our attention to another challenging type that often appears cloaked in concern or love, the controller, or the manipulator. These are the individuals who, under the guise of caring deeply or knowing what's best for you, try to dictate your choices, your finances, your relationships, or even how you spend your precious time. They often use guilt, subtle manipulation, or even outright demands to get their way, convincing you that their way is the only right way, and that your ideas are flawed. They might tell you how you should invest your retirement savings, what kind of car you should drive, who you should spend your holidays with, or even what you should eat for dinner. It's not advice. It's an attempt to manage your life according to their own agenda or anxieties. For instance, you might have a grown child who constantly questions your financial decisions, implying you're not capable of managing your own money, even though you've done so perfectly well for decades. Or perhaps a sibling who always tries to orchestrate family events to their convenience, making you feel guilty if you don't conform to their elaborate plans. Their tactics might be subtle: a sigh, a pointed look, a passive-aggressive comment, but the underlying message is clear. You should do what I say. Reclaiming your autonomy from the controller is crucial for your peace and dignity. The key here is to clearly state your decisions and then refuse to explain, justify, or debate them. Practice saying no firmly but kindly. For example, if a family member tells you how to spend your savings, you can respond with, "I appreciate your thoughts, but I've already made my decision on that." If they push, simply repeat, "My decision is made." You don't owe them a detailed explanation or a performance review of your choices if they try to manipulate you with guilt. "But if you loved me, you'd," or "After all I've done for you." Recognize it for what it is and gently deflect. "I understand you feel that way, but I need to do what's right for me." It's about building a strong internal boundary and sticking to it. This can be particularly challenging with family, as years of established patterns can be hard to break. But remember, you are not responsible for their reactions to your healthy boundaries. You are simply taking control of your own life, which is your absolute right. The more consistently you stand your ground, the less they will try to control you, or you will gain clarity on the true nature of the relationship. Moving on to the fourth type of person who can be detrimental to your well-being: the taker, or the self-absorbed. These individuals are a constant drain on your resources, whether it's your time, your money, your emotional energy, or your generosity. But they rarely, if ever, reciprocate. Your relationship with them feels entirely one-sided, a perpetual outflow from you with very little, if any, inflow back. They might constantly ask for favors, need rides, borrow money they never return, or expect you to drop everything to listen to their problems. Yet they are nowhere to be found when you need support or a listening ear. When you are together, they talk endlessly about themselves, their achievements, their woes, their opinions, but show little to no genuine interest in your life, your thoughts, or your feelings. You'll notice they rarely ask you questions about yourself, and if they do, they quickly redirect the conversation back to their favorite subject themselves. Think of the relative who only calls when they need something, never just to chat and connect, or the friend who dominates every single conversation with their own stories, leaving you feeling unheard and invisible. These interactions leave you feeling depleted and undervalued, as if you are merely a convenient resource for them. To manage the taker, you need to set clear, firm boundaries on what you are willing to give. This might mean practicing the art of saying no to requests that cross your comfort line. You don't have to be rude. A simple, "I'm not able to help with that right now," or "My plate is quite full at the moment," is perfectly acceptable. When they launch into another monologue about themselves, you can gently try to steer the conversation to a mutual topic. Or if that fails, simply disengage mentally. You don't have to hang on their every word. You can also limit your availability to them. If you constantly feel used, it's okay to make yourself less available, whether by not answering every call immediately or by declining invitations that you know will leave you feeling drained. It's important to redirect your energy towards people who genuinely nourish you, who engage in reciprocal relationships, and who show a true interest in your life. Remember, true relationships are a two-way street, built on mutual respect and give and take. You have every right to protect your resources and your time for those who truly value you. Finally, let's talk about the fifth type of person that can poison your peace: the jealous or envious one. This is perhaps one of the most insidious forms of toxicity, especially when it comes from within your own family. These individuals struggle to genuinely celebrate your joys, successes, or even your quiet contentment. Instead, when good things happen to you, they might dismiss your achievements, try to one-up you with a story of their own, or subtly undermine your happiness with backhanded compliments or veiled criticisms. Their own insecurities and unmet desires manifest as resentment towards your good fortune, making them incapable of offering sincere support or sharing in your delight. You might share exciting news about a new hobby you've taken up, and they immediately respond with, "Oh, I tried that years ago. It was boring." Or, "That sounds nice, but you're probably not as good as someone else they know." Or you might simply be enjoying a peaceful afternoon, and they'll drop a comment that implies you don't deserve your happiness, or that you're somehow lazy for enjoying your retirement. Their negativity can chip away at your self-worth and make you hesitant to share your good news, which isolates you from your own joy. Protecting yourself from the jealous or envious one requires a recognition that their behavior isn't about you, but about their own internal struggles. Their envy is a reflection of their own insecurities, not a comment on your worth or your achievements. The key actionable step here is to limit sharing your personal successes, joys, or even your simple contentment with them. If you know that sharing good news will only be met with negativity or competition, then simply don't share it. You don't owe them access to your happiness. Instead, seek out those who genuinely lift you up, who celebrate your victories big and small, and who make you feel truly seen and appreciated. These are the people who truly deserve to be privy to the wonderful things happening in your life. When you do have to interact with the jealous individual, keep conversations light and superficial, avoiding topics that might trigger their envy. If they make a snide remark, you can simply acknowledge it without engaging. That's one way to look at it, and then change the subject. Ultimately, protecting your joy and your peace means choosing your confidants wisely and guarding your inner sanctuary from those who wish to dim your light. So, we've walked through 5 types of people that can really hinder your peace and happiness in this wonderful stage of life. The constant critic who saps your confidence, the drama generator who drains your emotional energy, the controller who tries to dictate your life, the taker who never reciprocates, and the jealous one who can't celebrate your joys. Recognizing these patterns, even when they come from family, is the first courageous step. This isn't about being unkind or unforgiving. It's about profound self-care and self-preservation. As you've heard, our time after 60 is a golden age, a period meant for peace, for joy, for pursuing passions, and for truly enjoying the fruits of your life's labor. Carrying the burden of toxic relationships only weighs you down, stealing precious moments and energy that could be spent living vibrantly. Remember, making these changes isn't selfish. It's an essential act of love for yourself. It's about creating space in your life for true joy, for genuine connections, and for living the fulfilling life you absolutely deserve. You might be thinking, "But they're family. I can't just cut them off." And you don't always have to. Sometimes, setting clear, firm boundaries is enough. It's about redefining the relationship on your terms, for your well-being. It could mean reducing contact, limiting sensitive topics, choosing specific interaction settings, or simply changing your internal response to their behavior. The surprise I promised you is this: by setting these boundaries, you're not rejecting people. You're actually teaching them how to treat you, and more importantly, how to love you. And often, by doing so, you create the space for genuine, uplifting relationships to flourish, whether they are with those very same people who learn to respect your boundaries, or with new, wonderful connections that enter your life. The profound sense of peace and freedom that comes from choosing who you share your precious energy with is truly astonishing. You'll find yourself lighter, more energetic, and more present for the joys life has to offer. I'd truly love to hear your thoughts on this. Have you encountered any of these types of individuals in your life? What strategies have worked for you in navigating these challenging relationships, especially with family? Share your experiences and your wisdom in the comments below. Your insights could be exactly what someone else needs to hear to find their own peace. And if this video resonated with you, if it gave you something to think about, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps our channel reach more wonderful people like yourself who are looking to live their best lives. Don't forget to subscribe for more insights, tips, and encouragement on living your best life at every age. We're building a supportive community here, and your presence makes it stronger and more vibrant. You deserve to live your golden years filled with peace, joy, and authentic, uplifting connections. Embrace this chapter. Cultivate your happiness. And remember, your well-being is paramount. Live your best life at every age, surrounded by people who truly cherish the wonderful person you are.